Have you ever met someone who walks into a room, says just a few words, and instantly commands respect? They're not the loudest, they don't dominate the conversation, and yet, the moment they speak, people stop and listen. Now think about the opposite. Maybe you've been there, talking, explaining, trying to prove a point, only to be ignored, interrupted, or dismissed. It's frustrating, right? So what's the difference? Why do some people effortlessly hold attention while others struggle? Just to be heard? Here's the truth. Respect isn't about being the loudest, the smartest, or even the most experienced. It's about how you communicate. Your words, your tone, even your silence, all of it sends a message. Some people unknowingly undermine themselves every time they speak, while others naturally project confidence and authority without even trying. The good news? This isn't something you're born with. It's something you can develop. And that's exactly what we're breaking down today. 6 powerful strategies to make people respect your words. No gimmicks, no tricks, just straight talk. Some of these will challenge the way you think. Others might make you a little uncomfortable, but every single one of them will change not just how people see you, but how you see yourself. Ready to level up your communication? Let's dive in. Let's talk about one of the biggest confidence killers in communication: over-apologizing. Think about your daily conversations. How often do you say, "I'm sorry"? Maybe you are just 2 minutes late to a meeting, and the first words out of your mouth are, "Sorry, I'm late." Or someone accidentally bumps into you and your instinct is to say, "Oh, sorry." Even when asking a simple question, you might preface it with, "Sorry to bother you." It feels harmless, even polite. But in reality, it is slowly undermining your confidence and the way people perceive you. The hidden psychology of over-apologizing. Every time you say, "I'm sorry" unnecessarily, you are subconsciously training yourself and others to see you as unsure. It is like sending a silent message that says, "I'm probably wrong. I don't deserve to take up space. You have the right to dismiss me." And people believe what you tell them. If you constantly frame yourself as an inconvenience, they will start treating you like one, interrupting you, overlooking your ideas, or simply not taking you seriously. The result? You become invisible in conversations. Apologies should be meaningful, not mindless. Let's be clear, apologizing is not bad, but it should be used strategically so that when you do say, "I'm sorry," it actually carries weight. Think about the people you respect the most: leaders, mentors, or successful professionals. Do they apologize for every little thing? No. They apologize when it is truly necessary. A real apology should be reserved for genuine mistakes that impact others. If you missed an important deadline or let someone down, an apology is warranted. Taking responsibility for something significant, owning up to a real issue builds credibility, not weakens it. Expressing sincere regret, not just filling silence. Apologizing should show responsibility, not insecurity. Small shifts that make a big difference. Instead of making "I'm sorry" your default response, reframe your words so that you still sound polite but confident. Instead of "Sorry, I'm late," say, "Thank you for waiting." Instead of "Sorry to bother you," say, "I appreciate your time." Instead of "Sorry if I wasn't clear," say, "Let me clarify." Notice the difference? These alternatives remove self-doubt and replace it with self-respect. Respect starts with how you see yourself at. The core of Stoic philosophy is the belief that you are in control of how you present yourself to the world. If you constantly apologize for existing, people will start treating you like someone who needs to ask for permission to be in the room. But if you own your presence and speak like someone who belongs, people will naturally respect you. So here is a challenge. The next time you catch yourself about to say, "I'm sorry," pause. Ask yourself, do I really need to apologize, or am I just making myself smaller? Because respect starts with you. Speak like someone worth listening to. Key enhancements in this revision. Stronger hook. Starts by pulling the audience into a relatable scenario. Clearer psychological explanation. expands on how over-apologizing conditions the mind. Better. Flow between sections. Smooth transition from why over-apologizing is harmful to how to fix it. More engaging. Alternative phrases. Instead of just listing what to say instead, it explains why these shifts matter. Stronger. Call to action. Makes the audience reflect before they apologize next time. Let's be real. Most people struggle with setting boundaries. They say yes when they really want to say no. They let others overstep, not because they agree, but because they do not want to seem difficult, selfish, or unhelpful. But here is the truth. If you do not set boundaries, you are not being kind or accommodating. You are letting others dictate your life. And that is a fast track to burnout, resentment, and ultimately, a loss of respect. Why people struggle to set boundaries. Most people avoid setting boundaries because they fear disappointing others. They worry that saying no will make them seem rude, unhelpful, or even unlikable. But here is a hard truth. If someone gets mad at your boundaries, it means they benefited from your lack of them. Think about that for a second. The people who truly respect you will not be upset when you enforce your limits, but those who are taking advantage of your time, energy, and kindness without reciprocating, they are the ones who will push back. And that tells you everything you need to know about their intentions. How successful leaders say no without guilt. Look at the most respected leaders, entrepreneurs, and high performers. They all have one thing in common. They are crystal clear about their boundaries. They do not apologize for protecting their time. A CEO does not take last-minute meetings just to be nice. Skilled negotiator does not agree to bad deals to avoid making the other person uncomfortable. A respected leader does not overextend themselves at the expense of their well-being. The difference is, they do not just say no, they do it without guilt and without over-explaining. Here is what that looks like in action. Instead of, "I'm so sorry, but I can't make it." Say, "I won't be able to attend, but I hope it goes well." Instead of, "I don't think I can take this on." Say, "That doesn't fit my schedule right now." Instead of, "I really wish I could help." Say, "I can't commit to that, but I appreciate you thinking of me." No long-winded justifications, no unnecessary apologies, just clear, direct communication. The power of holding the line here is where things get uncomfortable. When you start setting boundaries, some people will not like it. They will try to guilt you, manipulate you, or push back. That is where most people fold. They cave under pressure thinking, maybe just this once. But here is the thing. The second you break your own boundary, you teach people that your limits are negotiable. And what happens next? They keep pushing. But when you hold firm, something amazing happens. People adjust. They realize you are serious. They stop expecting unlimited access to your time and energy. And most importantly, they respect you more for it. Practical challenge. Say no. This week, setting boundaries is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So here's your challenge. Say no to something small this week. Maybe it is declining an invitation you are not excited about. Maybe it is turning down an extra task that is not your responsibility. And when you do, pay attention. See how people react. Notice how standing your ground changes the way they treat you. Because when you respect your own limits, others will too. And that is how you earn lasting respect. Key enhancements in this revision. Stronger hook emphasizes the emotional weight of setting boundaries. Clearer explanation directly explains how people react when you set boundaries. More engaging leadership examples ties boundary setting to high performers and CEOs. Better flow between sections. Smoother transitions between why people struggle, how to say no, and the benefits of holding firm. More compelling challenge encourages immediate action with a real-world test. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill every gap in conversation, thinking that talking non-stop makes them sound smart, confident, or persuasive. But the reality? It does the opposite. Silence isn't empty. It's powerful. The way you pause when you speak can be the difference between commanding attention and being ignored. It's the reason some people captivate a room with just a few words, while others ramble and get tuned out. The neuroscience behind pausing pauses are not just about speech. They are about how the brain processes information. Studies in neuroscience show that when someone slows down and inserts strategic pauses, listeners retain more of what they hear. Here's why. A pause creates space for the listener's brain to process what was just said. It builds anticipation, keeping people engaged. It gives your words weight, making them feel more intentional and important. Without pauses, your words blur together. They lose impact. But when you slow down, even simple statements carry authority. Why fast talkers lose authority? Many people believe that speaking quickly makes them sound smart and efficient, but in reality, it often has the opposite effect. When someone speaks too fast, the listener struggles to keep up. Instead of absorbing what's being said, they start tuning it out. And worst of all, rapid speech can make you seem anxious, nervous, or uncertain, even if you know exactly what you're talking about. Think about a time when you heard a confident leader or public speaker. Did they rush through their words? Probably not. They spoke deliberately, allowing each point to land before moving on. Now compare that to someone who nervously speed talks through a presentation. Even if their content is great, they sound like they're trying too hard to prove themselves rather than letting their words speak for themselves. Demonstration. Feel the power of a pause. Right now, let's try something. Read this sentence in your head as fast as possible. Confidence is not about saying more, it's about making every word count. Now, read it again, this time pausing after each phrase. Confidence is not about saying more, it's about making every word count. Feel the difference? The second version feels stronger, more intentional, and more impactful. That's the power of a pause. A pause signals confidence. People who truly believe in what they're saying don't feel the need to rush. They trust that their words carry weight on their own. Pausing tells people, I know what I'm talking about. I'm comfortable with silence. I don't need to rush to prove myself. It also makes conversations more dynamic. Instead of overwhelming people with a wall of words, you create rhythm. You let your words breathe. How to start using pauses today. If pausing feels unnatural at first, here's a simple trick. Before responding in any conversation, take a 2-second pause. It will feel longer to you than it actually is, but that's okay. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. And the next time you're about to fill the silence with unnecessary words, resist the urge. Let the pause do its job. Because when you master the pause, you don't just earn respect, you own the room. Humor is one of the most powerful tools in communication. It breaks tension, builds rapport, and makes you more likable. But used the wrong way, it can completely undermine your credibility and make people take you less seriously. The key is knowing the difference between being funny and being taken as a joke, the right and wrong way to use humor. Some people think being funny makes them instantly more respected, and to some extent, that's true when humor is used correctly. But there's a fine line between humor that adds to a conversation and humor that distracts from it. Here's where many people go wrong. They rely too much on jokes and never have serious moments, so people see them as the comic relief instead of someone to be taken seriously. They use humor to deflect criticism instead of addressing real issues. They overuse self-deprecating jokes, which makes them seem insecure rather than confident. On the flip side, great communicators use humor as a tool, not a crutch. The danger of self-deprecating. Humor making fun of yourself can be a great way to show humility and make others feel comfortable. But if overused, it can backfire. Imagine a CEO in a meeting who says, "I'm just here to sign papers and look important." It might get a laugh, but what message does it send? If they downplay their own authority, why should anyone else take them seriously? Compare that to a CEO who uses humor to make a point, not undermine themselves. If they say, "You know you've been in too many meetings when you start dreaming in PowerPoint slides," that's a relatable joke that doesn't diminish their credibility. The difference? One joke makes them seem less competent. The other makes them seem approachable but still in control. How the best leaders use humor. Successful people know that humor works best when it makes other people feel included, not targeted. It adds to the conversation without derailing the main point. It shows confidence without self-sabotage. For example, in high-stakes corporate settings, top executives often use humor to connect with their teams, but you'll rarely see them make fun of themselves in a way that lowers their status. Instead, they might joke about the situation, the challenges, or even poke fun at the industry, never at their own expense. Practical tip: think before you joke before cracking a joke. Ask yourself, does this elevate the conversation or distract from it? If the joke makes people laugh while reinforcing your message, it's a win. If it shifts the focus away from your point and toward your insecurity, awkwardness, or lack of confidence, it's a problem. Because at the end of the day, humor should make people respect you more, not less. Use it wisely and you'll be both respected and remembered. Gossip is one of the easiest ways to bond with people, but also one of the fastest ways to lose respect. It's tempting. It feels good in the moment. Sharing a juicy piece of information makes you feel like you're in the know, like you're part of an exclusive club. But there's a hidden cost to gossip that most people don't realize until it's too late. Every time you gossip, you're not just exposing someone else, you're exposing yourself. Why gossip destroys your credibility? When people hear you talk about others behind their backs, they don't just absorb the information. You know what they're really thinking? If they talk about that person like this, what do they say about me when I'm not around? Gossip doesn't make you interesting. It makes you untrustworthy, the illusion of connection. Many people gossip because they think it helps them connect with others. It's a shared secret, a mutual enemy, a moment of excitement. But real connection isn't built on tearing others down. It's built on trust, respect, and shared values. Look at the people you admire the most, the ones who command real respect. Do they gossip? Probably not. They don't have time for they're focused on things that actually matter. Leaders and high performers understand this. They know that engaging in gossip makes them look small-minded and untrustworthy. That's why they remove themselves from gossip circles, because they know that trust is one of the most valuable currencies in life. How to avoid gossip without being awkward? It's easy to say, just don't gossip. But what happens when someone starts gossiping around you? How do you shut it down without looking self-righteous or making it weird? Here are some subtle but effective ways to exit the gossip trap. Shift the conversation. If someone starts talking negatively about a person, redirect the discussion to something more productive. I hope they're doing okay. Anyway, what's the latest on neutral topic? Stay neutral. If you don't feed the gossip, it usually dies out. That's between them. I'd rather focus on what we can control. Physically remove yourself. If the gossip won't stop, excuse yourself from the conversation. I've got something to take care of. Catch you later. The power of walking away. Here's a challenge. The next time gossip starts, don't engage. See how people react. You'll notice something interesting. People will start to see you differently. They'll respect you more because you don't indulge in negativity. And over time, they'll come to trust you more because they know you don't spread stories behind their backs. Because at the end of the day, the people who gossip the most are the ones who are trusted the least. So ask yourself, do you want to be known as someone who talks about people or someone who people trust? Respect comes from the way you carry yourself. Leave the gossip behind and watch how people start seeing you differently. Most people talk too much. They think that explaining every little detail will make them sound smart, persuasive, or competent. But the reality Over-explaining does the opposite. It weakens your impact, makes you seem unsure, and often causes people to stop listening altogether. The uncomfortable truth is this: the more you talk, the less people listen. Why people ramble talking too much usually comes from insecurity, fear of not being understood. You keep adding more explanations, hoping to make your point clearer. Fear of silence. You feel uncomfortable when a conversation pauses, so you fill it with words. Fear of looking unprepared. You think if you say more, people will see you as knowledgeable. But here's what happens when you talk too much. You lose people's attention because they stop processing your words. You dilute your message. Instead of making one strong point, you bury it under too many details. You sound less confident, as if you need to justify everything you say. Why concise speakers are perceived as more intelligent? Research has shown that people who speak concisely are often perceived as more intelligent, competent, and persuasive than those who ramble. A study from the Journal of Psychological Science found that speakers who use fewer words but maintain clarity command more respect and are viewed as more confident. Think about some of the most impactful quotes in history. Less is more. Speak softly and carry a big stick. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. They're short, powerful, and memorable. How top executives and negotiators use fewer words. High-level CEOs, executives, and negotiators understand one critical rule: say less, mean more. When a CEO speaks in a meeting, they don't ramble for 10 minutes explaining why a decision is being made. They state the key point, pause, and let their words settle. When a skilled negotiator makes an offer, they don't explain all the reasons why they deserve it. They state their terms clearly and confidently. Then they stop talking. Here's why this works. It forces people to focus on what you actually said. It creates space for the listener to process and respond. It signals confidence, because confident people don't feel the need to over-explain. New technique. Drop your key point, then stop if you struggle with over-explaining. Try this. Say what you need to say in 1 or 2 sentences. Stop talking. Resist the urge to fill the silence. For example, instead of saying, "I think we should go with this strategy because it aligns with our goals, and it has proven to work in similar situations. Plus, we've done some research and found positive results." Say, "This strategy aligns with our goals and has been proven to work. Let's move forward." Then stop. Let the pause do the work. Final thought: the power of silence. If you've ever met someone who speaks just enough, but never too much, you know how powerful it is. Their words carry weight because they don't waste them. So the next time you feel the urge to keep talking, resist it. Drop your point, let it sit, and watch what happens. Because when you learn when to stop talking, people don't just hear you, they respect you. At the end of the day, respect is not about tricks, hacks, or trying to sound impressive. It is about showing up with clarity, confidence, and presence. When you speak with self-respect, others follow. When you stop over-apologizing, set clear boundaries, master the power of pausing, use humor wisely, avoid gossip, and know when to stop talking, you naturally command attention. You do not have to force it. Now, it is your turn. Out of these 6 strategies, which one are you going to apply first? Will you start by cutting out unnecessary apologies? Will you practice pausing to add weight to your words? Or will you work on setting stronger boundaries? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you found this valuable, do not keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe for more insights on personal growth, communication, and real-world strategies that make an impact. Remember this: your words shape your world. So speak like someone worth listening to. See you in the next one.